Hey everyone, Grandpa Bobby here. I'm coming with another video of me fixing my truck. This is my Ford F150. It's a 2013. It has a 5.0 Coyote engine. And just about every other typical Ford around the 2011 to the 2014 is plagued with this problem. And that problem is, see that T connector on the top right? Well, most of the time it leaks, or it leaks from the radiator hose gasket as well. And I'll go into more details in the upcoming video. But I'd like to give a shout out who helped me do this as well in their video, and that's Ford Tech Makaloko. He has a good YouTube channel that talks about fixing Fords for years, and he does a good video of this particular change. Watch it. Mine's more of a picture show and giving you some good part numbers. So I just wanted to make sure that you had some clear part numbers that you can go. And I even have some additional things in this video that you'll like as an alternate means of fixing it. So without further ado, let's go show you what I've done. Now this is a front view of the engine, and you can see on the very top there's the throttle body and the air intake coming in. If you look straight down below that, which is hard to see, there's that white connector, and you can see there's the hose coming up to the upper part of the radiator. Let me show you some more details. Now this is the T connector. You can see that this is the Ford OEM part number DR3Z-8566-B1X, and yes, at the very end could change. So very important, ask your Ford dealer or the parts store, give them your VIN number just to make 100% sure that you have the correct part. I went ahead and purchased the upper radiator hose because see the plastic down on the bottom that has that special gasket, which I'll show you in just a minute. And this hose is the Ford OEM CL3Z-8260-A. And again, double check your VIN part number. And again, I'm going to show you an alternate way to fix this as well. Now this is where it was leaking from. So I got underneath the truck, and you could see where it was dripping underneath. This is where it went into the thermostat housing, and it was leaking just from there. Here is where it was leaking from. See the O-ring that's inside? It gets flattened out over years. And so when the truck heats up, it seals. But when it cools down is when it starts leaking about a cup to 2 cups of antifreeze on the ground. And now you also can get some lubrication, and you can buy a O-ring kit, BC3Z-8590-F. And they're supposed to be the same part number for both upper and the T connector, but confirm that with your dealership at Ford or your parts store. Here's a little bit of information. See that this clip at the end of this T? This clip is just a little different in size versus the hose. So look here, the upper one is a little bit bigger, which is the upper hose, and the one that goes to the T is just a little bit smaller. So just remember, don't get them mixed up if you're just changing the gasket out. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take an 8mm or 5/16 socket, and then we're going to undo this hose on the throttle body, and then we're going to come over to the air filter and do the same thing for this clamp, and then we're going to move over to disconnecting this hose on the top, and that's the only hose I want to disconnect because I'm going to take everything and fold it back up and use a bungee cord to hold it up against the firewall in the back. This will allow it to stay out of my way, plus I don't have to disconnect any more things. Now here we're going to be putting some jacking the truck up where I can get underneath to drain the radiator enough to take the hoses off. Okay, now at the lower right hand side of the radiator you'll see a red knob, and I took a straight blade screwdriver, as you can see there, and I put it in the back and just opened it up and took a 3/8 hose and I was able to use that to hook up and to drain the radiator fluid into a container. And all you have to do is just find a gallon container and just lay it down there, and you can just let it fill up, and when it stops draining, then you can stop it. Okay, now we're going to remove the throttle body. They're going to take a 8mm socket or 5/16, and you're going to undo that, and then you're going to take and move over the throttle body and just do not disconnect it, and then put a rag in the throttle body to prevent something from going inside. Next, remove all the clips that are holding in the T, as well as later on we'll do this on the upper hose. All you have to do is take a pick, lift up on it, and here you can see there's a clamp on the engine. We're going to take in some pliers and move that towards the back. And after we move it towards the back, we're going to take a box cutter and we're going to go ahead and cut that hose. Try not to scar it too bad on the metal, and then we're going to take it and take a pick and go underneath and see if we can loosen it up. We can start to pull it off. You have to do some wiggling, but you can get it off. But you're going to have to cut it to do that. And then after that, we'll clean it up with some Scotch-Brite on all the fittings to make sure there's any crud on there. We'll get it off. Okay, now installing the T. I had to put some antifreeze on the inside of the rubber hose to slide it on better. Then I was able to get it over to the thermostat housing, and then I went ahead and snapped in my new upper hose, and make sure that it has that silicone grease if it doesn't come from the factory on it. If you put a new O-ring, make sure you lube it up. And then here I went ahead and attached the upper part of the radiator hose. And yes, I went and used an old-fashioned clamp. That Ford clamp is so hard to work with, and you can see that that little piece of expando wasn't supposed to be there, so I had to go fix it and move it back up. I wasn't paying attention. And now I went ahead and cleaned up the throttle body before I reinstalled it. And you got to make sure that when you do reinstall this throttle body, you have to be very careful not to damage the inserts. They're plastic inserts. And also remember, do not torque more than 10 Newton meters or 89 inch-pounds. Just be very careful when you're tightening it down. Okay, everything's been buttoned back up. Make sure you re-secure your drain on your radiator. And now I filled up the container with the 50/50, and then I started to put everything back together, putting the clamps back on that I took off, and repositioning them and tightening them down. Now I started the truck and run it up to about 2400 RPMs, and I kept it there for about 5 minutes. You can see my temperature gauge is starting to come up. Now I turned off the truck, and yes, I overfilled it, so I took my wife's turkey baster, which now is mine. I owe her a new one, and I took it out. So now everything works great. We've been running again for over a week, over 200 miles. Thank you for watching my video. Like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell, and have a blessed day.